welcome to episode 41 of the Rock and Roll Research Podcast, where we share the super cool backstories and side gigs of the research and insights pros that you trust. Well, you know, the market research industry has a very long value chain, and chances are, if you've been in the space for any period of time, at some point you've had to rely on a company called Fieldwork, either for their participant recruiting, their 15 or so world-class focus group facilities, or their domestic or global project management capabilities. Well, today's guest is Sarah Kotva, Executive Vice President at Fieldwork, where she started some, 21 years or so ago. Don't mean to date you, sorry about that, Sarah. But in true rock and roll research fashion, what she really wanted to do was plan events, which to me means probably like Slayer concerts. That's my guess. That's what I'd want to do if I were planning events. But while she ended up in research, I think she found that maybe it's not so different after all. So welcome to the podcast today, Sarah.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
I'm super excited to have you. Super excited. So we're talking Fieldwork, right? So how did you find your way into this, and why have you stuck around all these years?
I think that my story is like so many other people in our industry. It was really true networking. I had a friend in college that also fell into it, and I was working at a job actually planning conferences. So not quite the parties and concerts and events, but conferences.
Slayer conference.
Yes, exactly. And it just wasn't a right fit for me because it was a very head down, non-collaborative environment. And I was just sort of interested in seeing what else was out there. I was very lucky that the job market was great at the time. And I faxed over a resume, and somebody that I studied abroad with that I had a very fun summer with. The resume found her, and I got passed along. So I think that I really didn't know necessarily what I was in for, but I thought to myself, if my friend can do it, I can do it too. And I went for it. I think the reason that I have stayed so long is because I do think that this particular support system that Fieldwork is to the industry just suits me very, very well. I'm naturally curious. I like goals. I like, they're kind of short-term goals. You learn a lot about, you learn a little bit about a lot of things in the process. And I think ultimately I've stuck around because I think the industry is full of super cool and interesting people. And I think that field workers that I work with and I collaborate with are really fun.
Yeah, cool. So I have certainly been behind the glass at many of Fieldwork over the years. But so tell me about you mentioned you were doing some conference planning, but when we talked earlier, you said that event planning you thought was in your future. You were destined for something like that. So tell me about where that interest came from, and what that is to you.
Yeah, I think that, a lot of people grow up differently, and some have very an early on passion for things, and they have a clear path that they want to take. I wasn't like that. I sort of, I went to school, I went to college, I was having a great time. I saw an Oprah guest, Colin Cowie, and he looked like he planned really fun and beautiful parties. So I thought, you know what? Let's look into that. But the reality of party planning and event planning is it's a lot of nights and weekends, and it's a lot of work. And what I found similar with Fieldwork is that as a project manager, you're doing some of the same things. You're problem solving, you're anticipating needs, client needs, and you're using your experience to hopefully help guide the next process, the next client to a better result. And so I think that some of those skills that I thought that I wanted, or some of the things, the day-to-day activity that I thought I wanted in a career, I was able to find starting off as a project manager for our network division at Fieldwork.
Yeah, that seems to be just thinking of the nature of qualitative research, especially in-person type of research. I can certainly see the connection there. So have you had a chance to exercise that interest of event planning at all, beyond, say, project work in your time at Fieldwork?
Yes, I mean, I've been very, very fortunate to carve out a great role. I think that project management in the qualitative space, you just learn so much. It's a quick pace.
Yeah,
Your communication skills are so very important. But eventually my career did evolve into doing more sort of business development and then
right.
internal operations. Fieldwork believes in bringing people together in person. We've spent a lot of resources, time, and money to, bring field workers together because we
Yeah.
really believe in sharing operational best practices. So, yeah, eventually my job did sort of turn into an event planning job because I was part of or influenced, the meetings of our teams. And that pre-pandemic was anywhere between, I don't know, gosh, 4 and 10 times a year. I think the good news is we do like to really hang out with each other and learn from each other. So we really look forward to getting back to that.
Yeah, yeah. That's one thing that I've really missed, I think, with the pandemic and everything. Everyone's sort of heads down, and um, even much of my background is in quant too, but it's always exciting to actually get a chance to go to focus groups and see what consumers have to say and engaging directly with people.
Well, in addition to just engaging with the customer, I think what's missing is the small group conversations that you have with your colleague. What you hear an aha moment, you go, hey, can I talk to you real quick? What do you think about this? Or, on the way out of the group in the evening, on the way to dinner or to back to the hotel, there's a lot of conversation and afterthoughts. I tend to have some, a bulletin board brain. I think about something, I talk about something, and then I'm like, oh, wait, why didn't I say that? Or have a different idea. So I think what's also missing with the fact that people aren't necessarily always coming to do people are coming back to do focus groups, and I think that that is enhancing that experience by being able to share and collaborate with your colleagues.
Yeah, yeah, that's good to hear. So you're finding that post-pandemic things are starting to open up more for face-to-face research?
Absolutely, absolutely. We've been our doors have been open about since May of 2020, and it's definitely
Okay.
been, it's been slow, but it's starting to really pick up. I think that people do really just miss each other, and there's a lot of things that you can't do. I think that there's a time and a place for all methodologies and technology. Thank goodness we have this. What would
Yeah.
life be like if this were 20 years ago? But I do think that the power and the magic and the energy of being together is really something, and I think people are truly craving it.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's great to hear. So what kinds of projects are people looking to fieldwork for nowadays as things are opening up?
I I would like all the different methodologies in Fieldwork stores, but I would say that today in this moment in July, the net is continuing to get wider. In the beginning, in the earlier days when there were other options, the things that you couldn't replace. It's smelling, tasting, touching.
Right.
There's also
Yeah.
a level of confidentiality in our industry that we take very seriously. And so there could be, a lack of prototypes or, if it was a time or, because it was too expensive. So I think those types of in-person research are very important, and they continue to be very important today.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So thinking ahead then, with so much change from the pandemic, God, I'm tired of talking about the pandemic, but
I
um,
know, I know.
and speculation about permanent change and all that sort of thing. So given your perspective, from the fieldwork perspective, what does the maybe near and future look like for this kind of work?
Yeah, I think there is a bright future. I really do. And like I said before, I think there's a time and place for all the different technologies and methodologies, and there's different reasons why a client would choose one. But I do think that there is a pent up demand to really engage and get these deep insights with the consumer. And they're the aha moments. I think they are these random conversations. And, our mutual friend Priscilla, she always says to me, the good ideas are going to fall out of your mouth, and it's up to,
Yeah.
other people to sort of scoop them up. And I feel like that's what happens. And like I was talking to you before about the side conversations and the back room or the conference room conversations, or the conversations that, back or after the groups. I think those are equally important, and those really do happen being in person. You're just being put together, and I think great ideas are generally formulated through that kind of in-person activity. Fieldwork has also collaborated with our competitors over the course of this difficult time and created a hashtag, face-to-face MRX. So we're really trying to promote the, what happens in person. We wanted to bring the news story to everybody, because at different times people were in different places. And I think that as things are opening up, people are now aware that all the focus group facilities across the United States are open for business, and really looking forward to helping our clients with some successful insights.
Okay, cool. I have to go off script for this question because it's something that I've always wanted to know, and I've got you here, and you can probably answer this for me. So, having spent a lot of time behind the focus group glass, right? What are the most popular snacks for people when they're watching focus groups? Is it
You
M&Ms?
cannot.
Is it?
Yes. And every time we had a meeting at Fieldwork, I would say, we would do a goodie bag for all the attendees. And I'm like, you can't have a Fieldwork meeting without M&Ms. You have to have M&Ms. But, I think that the snack thing is interesting because Fieldwork is in the hospitality business. We're a support service to this industry. So keeping things fresh, I want clients to walk into clients are going city to city, back room to back room, and they're watching these groups. And we always wanted to do things that made it special. So trying to find local options, trying to find, that local potato chip versus, the mass. But the thing about that I like about Fieldwork is there's always a lot of options. There's definitely internally, when we get together, we joke about having to do the Costco runs, having to do the grocery store runs, and now it's not just like a bag of groceries anymore. It's a full stock up. All of our facilities are ready to go, fully stocked.
Definitely, you've got the sweet, you've got the salty, you've got it all. You got it all. Okay, good stuff. Okay, so this is a podcast, right? So. What are some of the maybe podcasts or other media? It doesn't have to be a podcast, but other media that you're enjoying currently, either professionally or personally?
Well, there's two books that I love when I'm hitting a hard time, or there's a decision to be made. Sometimes I think about it's Option B by Sheryl Sandberg. I love that book. It definitely can relate to your personal or your business life. And a book called Setting the Table. It's about hospitality. Danny Meyer. Actually, Steve Schlesinger recommended that book to me a long time ago, and I love that book so much. Yeah. So I love those two books. I think both of them, for business and for personal, you can apply. And I always think when it comes to those types of books, business books, like, you have to just be able to take one or two tidbits away that you can apply. Some of it's not going to work. Some of it's not going to apply to your situation. But if you could take one or two things away, I think it's really, really helpful. And I also, I do love the podcast that everybody probably says, How I Built This, but I am into the storytelling of it. I think that oftentimes with business, people just think, wow, that was a great idea. Poof, that just happened. And it's just never the case. And I love the storytelling, the behind the scenes. So I love that.
Cool. Excellent. All right. So this is about rock and roll too. So I hope you've had a chance to think about this, because this is a question that I really, really need to know an answer to. So I'm curious. So this is a total surprise to me. I don't know what you're going to say. So you're stranded on a desert island, right, sir? You've got three records of your choosing to keep you company for the rest of your days. What are those records?
So I did think about this, and I thought back to the first time I remember having a CD player in my room and being at the store with my dad and begging him to buy the Bon Jovi Slippery When Wet CD for me.
Yes.
So that one would have to be there.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, not my thumb, not my thumb. And then I was thinking with all of this, this Free Britney stuff, Britney does bring me a lot of joy, a lot of fun times. So
Yeah.
I think the oops, I did it again.
She's
because
getting a
it's
raw
funny.
deal right now, by the way.
She is. She
Yeah.
is, but I think she's going to find her voice, and I think people are listening. So good for her.
All right, Team Britney. Okay. All right. So we got Bon Jovi, we got Britney. What else we got?
I was thinking about perhaps a show tune, a musical, something that you could sort of, go through your head. So I would say my third one would be the Hamilton soundtrack.
Ah, yes, yes. Absolutely. Cool. Well, great choices, Sarah. Great choices. I noticed you didn't say Slayer, but it's fine. It's fine. I'll get over it. It's okay. No one said it yet. So all right, Sarah.
It's only episode 41.
That's right. We got a long way to go. All right. I'm super glad that Priscilla put us in touch.
Me too.
I'm really glad that you've carved some time out of your busy schedule to talk with us on the podcast today. Super interesting stuff. And I really hope to see you from the other side of the glass one of these times soon as things are opening up. So I really appreciate it, Sarah. Thanks so much. And rock and roll.